I'm seeing shit or tripping, but check this out. So this is my aunt's son's room, right?
No, he ain't seeing shit and he ain't tripping. They need to take that wallpaper down.
There's no one in here. Closet. Nanny camera in here. Tell me that doesn't look like someone standing in the room. Like I've checked, like went back and forth 3 times, and nothing, right? Like what?
What is that he got? What device is that? Is this in the 90s? Or is that a heat signature thing? I don't know. Leave a comment below.
I do not want to go back in.
Bro, we definitely gotta talk about this. You see it, bro. Y'all see it. Let me make myself small. Y'all see it, bro. I do this for educational and entertaining purposes only. That's a mermaid, bro. It looks just like a sea angel chilling right there. Look how it's floating. It ain't moving nowhere, bro. Look at that. Y'all see the face? And that, y'all gonna say that's CGI? Y'all gonna say it's AI? Now,
look like a dolphin to me. Maybe I'm tripping. Leave your comments below.
now what y'all look? Y'all even get the close up, bro. Let's talk about it. Tell me what y'all think, man. It looks like it to me, bro. That literally looks like a mermaid, bro. There's no getting around this video. Y'all people need to open up your eyes and pay attention, man. These mermaids is coming out, and a lot of these other creatures is coming out. And yeah, there's AI videos all over the place. The AI trying to confuse y'all because they know that's one of the reasons why the foundation of that evilness was created, right?
Sound like he the only one trying to confuse us in here.
To fool people and also show you other realms and what other realms look like. Because everything is coming to light, bro. And AI is a dangerous thing, bro. A dangerous thing for the mind. People even get upset with it and curse you out in comment sections just because you post a video. That's how evil it is, bro. But leave it in the comments, hit the like button, and make sure you follow me here for more, man. Y'all know it's facts, man. Salute.
Morbid Facts, Part 4. When a group of loggers were cutting off the top of a chestnut oak tree in 1980, they found the mummified remains of a hunting dog. Experts believe that it chased its prey up the tree in the 1960s, only to get stuck there and eventually die.
Ain't that rough, man? Chased his prey up a tree and got stuck. Hungry.
Was posthumously named Stucky. This endangered baby dolphin in Argentina died shortly after this photo was taken because beachgoers were passing it around for selfies.
Somebody has caused sleep paralysis on the camera, and I think we all need to watch this. I know I can't be the only person that just experienced this spooky ass shit, but now seeing it on camera showed me how really real it is. Y'all can see right here, a man is literally getting a lap dance from a demon, which is absolutely diabolically crazy work. And when you tell people stuff like this, they like to call you crazy and try to make it seem like it's a figment of your imagination. They're not knowing that you literally have no control over your body. Sitting in the bed like this, Why are you looking in the corner and it's a demonic entity crip walking? I really don't want nobody in the comments try to explain to me that this is some type of scientific explanation. only explanation that I really want to hear about this is how to pray against it. Because it get real in the field. If you know, then you know.
Hey, how many of y'all out there experience sleep paralysis? I have a few times. It usually happens when I'm real tired, when I'm sleep deprived, wake up, can't move, can see everything going on. It's a creepy experience. Y'all leave y'all experiences below if y'all experience this.
We all been lied to about the truth behind the times of 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. And I'm about to tell you exactly what the fuck be going on at that time. Let's get into it. Basically, during
Hey, we all know what be going on at that time.
this time, the veil between our realm and the other higher realms of existence is thinnest at this point, right? Everybody's been told that. But did you know that at this point in your time, if you get woken up, it's called the ambrosial hour. And it's actually a huge energetic boost for all of us that naturally we wake up during the night. Sometimes when our soul, aka our higher self, wants us to use this energy to be in the creator mode of this reality. So if you ever played Minecraft, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's actually a great time for you to be in the purgatory. You're not dead, you're not alive, but you're on the other side. Because did you not know, friend, that everything that we're doing is a dream right now? Yes! Even when we go to sleep, we think we're sleeping. We're not sleeping. We're actually just back in our original state of nothingness, and we're without a body, so we're without having a human experience, and we are just experiencing life without this vessel. And that's what happens when we're asleep. But when we wake up during those times, we are still in that state because your brain is the map and the gateway.
Hey, that's pretty spooky right there. She dropped some knowledge. I don't know how true it is, but I always wake up around 3 and 5 in the morning with nothing to do. Maybe I need to start putting that energy to use and start doing something, being productive, be more creative. But who knows these days? You can fake a lot of stuff. We know it's probably the gov or something like that. Looked like a giant sugar cube. It almost looked like that one that he was explaining with the cube with the sphere or something like that, but it don't got no sphere. It's just floating and dangling. Leave your thoughts in the comments below.
Okay, for the sake of original content, I'm gonna act this out. This guy. What do you believe UAPs could be or are? Meaning unidentified aerial phenomena. This man. Strong evidence that they are non-human intelligence. Higher intelligence. Man agreed. This man said, I do not know. You know what I think they are? Or know they are? Plasma. So go look up these articles. They'll tell you all about it, but I have something better. I have a theory that plasma is a vehicle for consciousness. This would mean that these plasmoids are simply carrying the consciousness of these higher intelligent beings. So, a couple things. These plasmoids are intelligent on their own, like an animal. But but they can also carry consciousness, which has its own separate intelligence. Think of it as riding a horse, a human riding a horse. Sorry, that was so cringy. Now, doesn't this mythology seem more realistic? They're riding animals. Interesting. One theory I have is that the consciousness is bilocating. They are wherever they are, and they're also here remote viewing us. The plasma would even make it possible for them to communicate with us and also hear us and receive signals. The plasma simply connects their consciousness to our dimension or reality or world. This has to do with quantum non-locality. Basically, the plasma allows consciousness to transcend the laws of classical physics by instantaneous communication across time and space. Now, the question is, if we learn to bilocate, will we one day be able to do this? Yes. Astral projection.
A high school student from Italy has successfully created a home personal nuclear reactor that performs fusion. Meanwhile, DeepMind's
If that's a bright and safe idea.
AI can successfully control superheated plasma inside of a fusion reactor. We will talk about it. Cesar Mancarini, I did not pronounce that correctly, is the 17-year-old who made a nuclear fusion reactor. Large reactors may become a thing of the past while we have smaller ones powering whole cities or even individual homes. Yes, the school was concerned about the safety of conducting this research, but ultimately approved it. As we're continuing on with new research, we may find new ways to cause danger. You don't want to be the guy who gets a particle shot through your head in an accelerator. That did happen. If you're confused about the difference between fission and fusion, fission is usually what we see in large-scale operations. We're taking heavy molecules and breaking them apart with an enormous amount of energy released. This process can cause a chain event and is very difficult to stop once it's gotten started, and that's why we see things like major meltdowns. Fusion is where we take smaller molecules, put them together, and then a reasonable amount of energy is released. This process does produce less energy, but also has less capacity to end up resulting in a chain reaction that could cause mass destruction. In order for fusion to occur, you need to be able to harness plasma. And yes, our childhood toys did use plasma. Plasma is a different state of matter other than, solid, liquid, and gas. It's where we have positively charged ions alongside negatively charged electrons. If you want to get plasma to perform fusion, though, it also needs to be extremely hot. This is why we can have it in our living rooms without causing explosions. One of the issues is going to be directing that plasma. And yep, scientists figured out that you could have AI in control of directing that plasma with magnetic coils. AI is extremely powerful and can take large data sets and make decisions. I myself don't like relinquishing control, but this is a pretty cool use of AI.
Got a feeling that all this plasma talk, we're going to be seeing a lot more of it in the coming future, in the near future. I don't know.
1996, NASA puts this satellite in space. The mission doesn't go as planned, but they discover something way more interesting. This is the STS-75 mission. It appears they got the Dodge guys on this one because this mission is ridiculous. The goal was to tether a satellite to the space shuttle and drag it through the Earth's magnetic field to see how much power they could generate. It generated so much power that it blew the connection to the space shuttle. As it was going, it attracted those guys, like moths to a light. But they are not moths, they called them plasmoids. They appear to be conscious. They behave very similarly to algae, where algae feed on light. These guys seem to consume electric charge. They've even classified them into species like these donuts that wander around like herbivores. These hunters who are possibly another Dodge product, they care about nothing more than going fast. The weirdest one, these shapeshifters that can replicate themselves. Dr. Peratt, a plasma physicist, has studied ancient petroglyphs and linked them to plasma phenomenon. Ancient humans possibly saw this and thought they were aliens. They show conscious behavior, so are they? Plasma animates life in human form. Every time we measure brainwaves or heart rate, we're reading some form of plasma. Strip away all the material layers of a human. Put thoughts, memories, and the animating life force. If that's all plasma, then it makes a lot of sense. It doesn't stop there. Plasma doesn't just animate matter, it seems to be the thing that creates it. Plasma makes up 99.9% of the universe. Stars make every heavy element up to iron. When they supernova, they make all the other stuff. Cold fusion, or atomic alchemy, uses the symmetrical compression of ionized air to create a donut plasmoid. By modulating time instead of energy, new research shows that any element can be created as long as we know that element's frequency, which is just how fast it's vibrating. I've got a bigger question. What does it say about that guy? Is it one massive being made up of a crazy amount of these guys? You control billions of cells and organisms that form muscles and tissues and organs. Could that not be the same?
Our mind or consciousness is one of the biggest mysteries in science and philosophy right now. For centuries, science has been stuck on the mind-body problem, which is basically explaining how this physical lump of matter that we call the brain has this seemingly non-physical first-person experience of reality, where we can think, feel, and have subjective experience. In fact, it is such a hard problem that it's actually called the hard problem of consciousness. Okay, in case you're a little bit lost, let's first ask, what is consciousness? As I said before, consciousness is basically having a first-person subjective experience of reality. It is basically having a point of view through which you observe and experience the world. Literally what all of us are doing right now. Now the problem is basically explaining why and how something like experience or consciousness could ever come into the universe. This is because if consciousness did actually emerge, then it's completely different than anything that ever emerged previously in the universe. For example, chemistry emerged from combinations of something that already existed, which is physics. And biology emerged from combinations of chemistry. But consciousness, if it did emerge, literally just popped into existence out of nowhere. Basically, experience came out of things that had no sort of experience, which makes no sense at all. Unlike biology and chemistry, consciousness is not just the sum or combination of old things. It's the appearance of a completely new and distinct thing in reality, which is experience. So how does that ever happen? It's like in the beginning, we assumed that everything was going on in the dark. And then suddenly in evolutionary biology, the lights turned on and things suddenly became aware. But how, when, and why does that happen? And how could unconscious matter ever spontaneously give rise to conscious experience? This has been said in philosophy. This is as illogical as the appearance of a genie when Aladdin rubbed his lamp. Now, as crazy as it may seem, all these things are actually making scientists and philosophers propose that consciousness is actually fundamental to the universe. This concept is known as panpsychism. And as you can see from these articles, a lot of scientists are actually starting to consider that either the universe itself is conscious or the fundamental things that make up the universe are conscious. Which, when you think about it, is kind of crazy because that's literally what spiritual mystics have been saying for thousands of years.
I think the firmament, pi, and Nikola Tesla's 369 theory are all connected. This video might blow your mind. So I started looking at pi, and you're basically just measuring a circle. I just stared at this image for a few minutes, and then the Bible verse popped into my head about looking over the circle of the earth. The more I looked at what pi actually is, I found out that you can't really create a dome or an arch in architecture without using pi. So then I started to think, are they measuring the firmament with pi? And then for some reason I kept thinking of Nikola Tesla's 369. So in Kings 7:23, it says, "Then he made the sea," I think this is the waters above, "of cast metal. It was round 10 cubits from brim to brim and 5 cubits high, and a line of 30 cubits measured in circumference." So I started plugging numbers into pi to see if these worked. Stick with me, this is all going to pull together and it's crazy. I had ChatGPT run the math on 3.33 repeating instead of the 3.14 number. For a circle with a radius of 10 units, when you replace pi with 3.33, it converts to 66.6. So the biblical value of pi as derived from 1 Kings 7:23 and 2 Chronicles 4:2 appears to be an approximation of 3, but some interpretations suggest it might imply a slightly more precise value, such as 3.3 repeating. So it says the verse doesn't account for the basin's thickness. If the measurement of 10 cubits refers to the outer diameter and the circumference of 30 cubits refers to the inner circumference, the true ratio would increase slightly. And here it just breaks down the math. Keep in mind, this is the quantum computing model, and look at what they call the particles, qubits, just like in the Bible. And we can energy harvest with piezoelectric, pi. And the hemisphere would come out to 999. Keep in mind that this is what a hemisphere actually is. So then I asked it to create an image of a geodesic dome over a flat earth model, utilizing 3.33 repeating as pi. Guys, my mind is shook. It has the sacred hexagons, and hexagons are the most powerful energy producers. And it even put in a hexagon grid completely on its own. And it looks like it took an ancient astrology map and applied it to the bottom. It looks just like this, and this perfectly explains why Polaris is in the middle and the rest of the stars rotate and how we get our astrology. Not to mention that this looks exactly like this. And this looks exactly like this. And this is an image that ChatGPT created when I asked it to make a 369-degree circle. How weird is it that it even has the circles on the outsides just like this one does? So then I asked, how might 3, 6, and 9 be relevant in this model? And it says 3 as the central point from which all else radiates. 6 could represent intermediate points or radial lines dividing the Earth into sections similar to a hexagonal layout. 9 could symbolize the outer edge or boundary often associated with the ice wall, making the completion of the structure, which made me think of the black hole sun model that states that all of creation comes from the North Star and the black hole sun, like meeting at the North Pole and then projecting all of reality outwards. So on this model, I think the North Pole would be 3, the ice wall would be 9 because that's completion, and then where we live is 6, where creation and completion meet halfway in the middle. 3, 6, 9. So a lot of us know about the ley lines. Ley lines are basically just energy grid lines that people theorize connect us to free energy. Almost all important structures like the Statue of Liberty, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the pyramids, they all fall on like vertices of the ley lines. I think that the energy coming out of the black hole sun is meeting at the vertices on the 369 geodesic dome. I sound nuts, but whatever. And I think that this is somehow creating the ley lines. Remember, Tesla's whole thing was free energy and harnessing electric. I truly do believe that this is the great mystery around 369 and that it's really just the firmament and that the pi they give us is not true pi. So then I started talking to ChatGPT about it again. It says, some flat earth theories propose that the firmament has properties that refract or distort light. If the firmament were a geodesic dome centered on the North Pole, the highest point of the dome could potentially create unique effects on the light and visibility. At the North Pole, light might behave differently as it interacts with this apex, possibly creating phenomena like the aurora borealis or other atmospheric effects in this region. This could be explained by theories that suggest the dome has refractive or reflective properties that affect how we perceive light and celestial objects. In this model, the geodesic dome might influence air currents and weather patterns, particularly if the dome is seen as a barrier containing Earth's atmosphere. With the North Pole as the dome's center, circular or spiraling weather patterns might radiate outward, contributing to the concept of the polar vortex or other weather phenomena that start from the poles and move outward. This also validates climate zones, and this scripture blew my mind when I realized this. So this is when he comes back for his bride. It says, "The voice of my beloved, behold he comes, leaping over the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. There he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, looking through the lattice." Do you guys know what it's called when you weave pie crust together on top like this? A lattice. Pie. It's measuring the firmament. This is a lattice. This is a lattice. They're both pie, except one's a pastry. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's coincidental. I don't think it is. I think God is like hilarious. The first person to accurately estimate pi was literally named Archimedes. They're telling us. I don't believe most of these people in history were real. And if they were, there was like fake stuff about them. And think of the word piety. It means religious or holy. Pi. They're saying that the person operates in a way of like being beyond the firmament. Like they're godly. They're complete. Fibonacci spiral. SPI. Spiral. Pi is in there. Piano starts with pi. The piano has 88 keys. There were 88 books in the original Bible. There's 88 constellations divided into 7 octaves. 7 is God's number and cycles of 12 keys. In the book of Enoch, there's 12 stargates that the sun and moon come and go from. Pine cone. The occult worships the pine cone. The pine cone has 369 in it. Pilot. They are flying across the skies next to the firmament. Epiphany. There's PI in there. That's the revelation of Christ. Pineal gland, which is shaped like a pine cone. It has 369 built into it. Pioneer. Pioneer. Creating something. You're pioneering it. Let me know what you guys think, or if you have anything to add to this. I would
Using an app to trigger lucid dreaming can triple users' awareness in dreams and increase dream frequency. And you've probably seen a few products like this, like the Muse headband, but this isn't actually a product that's on the market, but rather some research that scientists were doing in a lab. And what we're talking about with lucid dreaming is when you are aware that you are dreaming, you know that you're asleep, and you know that your consciousness is in a dream. And
man, I don't know about y'all, but I love me some lucid dreaming. So vivid. But when they start to get creepy, I can't handle it, man. I gotta get out of there. Cause you'll see some wild stuff when you're lucid dreaming. Especially when you're trying to cut back smoking or something like that. The dreams come flooding in.
once that happens, you know that you can control everything. Everything that exists is literally in your mind's eye. You create the world around you. And while some people see this as a ticket to godhood, I've done this a number of times. And reality is, lucid dreams are very, very fun, and they're an interesting look at your own cognition. But this study is fascinating because it was published in Consciousness and Cognition. Researchers at Northwestern University showed that a smartphone app using sensory cues can significantly increase the frequency of lucid dreams through a process they called targeted lucidity reactivation. And the way this works is very, very simple. They undergo a training to associate a sound cue, such as a tone or melody, with becoming aware that they are dreaming. And the same sound is then played during sleep to prompt lucidity within a dream, leveraging the brain's ability to recognize that it is indeed in a lucid dream. We did 2 different tests of this, a small group and then a much larger group. Not all the people finished it. Group 1 was very simple. They did a 20-minute training exercise and then would go to bed each night and let the app sound cues play at the appropriate time to prompt them to enter a lucid mindset. It was typically about a 6-hour delay. And the results of this group is that the amount of dreams roughly tripled, just dreams in general, and many participants credited the app's cues with prompting lucidity either directly or indirectly. The next experiment was a little bit larger, and they decided to do some control groups here where we had people get no cues, untrained cues, the specific cues, and what they found is that people that got the audio cues from their training were much more likely to have dreams and much more likely to have lucid dreams. And what's really wild is this was done independently, but the results were so successful that the team started cooperating with the company that actually makes the Muse S headband. So this is a product that already exists, but it doesn't work as well as what's happening in this study. But what we learned from this study can very easily be applied to this product. So I think the next generation of Muse headbands are going to be something amazing.
Did you know you could bring someone back to life by using your hands? Remember that old song, "We got the whole world in our hands"? This is the truth. That's why it's never good to get a palm reading, because the palm reader can change your destination. Your left hand represents your struggles in life. Your right hand represents your success in life. Left hand obstacles, right hand destination. But if someone give you a palm reading, they can mess all of that up. But this story go a little deeper. Did you know that you can make a spiritual contract with your hands? You ever notice when people sign business contracts, the next thing they want to do is shake your hand? That's because that ink and that piece of paper don't mean shit without your handshake, your palm.
Y'all notice a lot of people don't shake hands lately. It's always the fist bump these days.
Palms just made another contract with someone else's palms. Why do you think they call it Palm Sunday? It wasn't speaking about a tree. They were speaking about our palms of our hands. Our ancestors knew this. That's why they was practicing Reiki. So you mean to tell me if someone is sick, they can do Reiki and use their hands or the energy that's in their hands and heal someone? You ever seen the movie Ninja Assassin when he was hurt and he was using hand signs to heal his body? Well, they're not really hand signs, if you know what I mean. Even cartoons is trying to tell us about our hands.
What if there's something higher than heaven? A realm that's even higher than the biblical or religious teachings of what heaven is. So if you're into spirituality and studying the occult or esoteric teachings, you have probably heard of seventh heaven or the 7 realms. And that at the way top, this is where you get to paradise, where none of the hellish things that happen in our realms happen there. Now, as we all know, the number 8 is the number responsible for infinity. Like the snake eating its own tail, you keep looping back to the same thing. So that means, numerically speaking, let's just use common sense here. 8 is higher than 7, right? So why is 7 heaven? What is 8? This is where the whole reincarnation theory comes in. You cannot get higher than 7. But as we all know, in numerology and esoteric occult teachings, the highest number is actually not 8, it's 9. 9 is the number of completion. So here's my little theory that I'm pretty sure is not original. I'm pretty sure other people have said it as well. But 9, the 9th realm, is actually heaven. And what 7 is, 7th heaven, is like the lobby or the waiting area that you go to before you reach level 9. And the reason why we get stuck at 8, which is infinity, is because it is, conspiracy theory here now, a mechanism in which it forces you to come back here to reincarnate. Because after you have completed everything that you will ever complete, which is the cycle 9, why do you need to come back here, right? After that, it should be free will. But if you learn Gnostic teachings, ancient Gnostic Christian teachings, they also say that there is some kind of trap going on in this realm, a trap in which you are always an illusion. You cannot escape. There is a God here that tricks you into being in this unpleasant matrix, which ties into my own theory of the number 8 is actually a matrix trapping system, an infinity system. Now, infinity itself is not a bad thing. In essence, it means all and everything that will ever be in one. But then you have to ask yourself, why do we even have the number 9? The universe works through math, right? Math is universal language. Why do we have the number 9 if 8 is all there is and ever will be? What if this whole ascension spirituality thing is to help all of us ascend higher than just 8? Now here we see the Kabbalah and a Cathar grid right next to it. This is really not talked about in the spiritual community. But if you look at the geometry versus the Cathara and the Kabbalah, there is something missing. The Kabbalah is not fully geometrical. The Kabbalah has no 11th gate. So this goes into the whole theory of like, what if this whole system is just to trick you to not go any higher than what the grid has set for you? If you're curious as to what I'm talking about, this is actually from my book,